You're listening to the Ordinary Joe's podcast with Joe D and Eric B. Ordinary Joe's podcast.
All right, we are back. And if you can see right there, we got the original Ordinary Joe back on scene. And
my name is actually Joe.
His name is actually Joe. Joe. And if you guys can tell with the shirts that we're wearing today, as promised, we are going to talk about Loki.
Dun, dun, dun. Finally.
Loki. And we were going to do a weekly recap, but, again, issues happen, things happen. So today we're going to do the full recap of all 6 episodes and talk about our thoughts, maybe some Easter eggs that you guys missed or you didn't miss. And then what, moving forward, I'm looking forward to the MCU with this episode going on. And spoiler alert if you guys haven't watched it. So I'm letting you know right now, spoiler alert. And, man, Joe, it's good to have you back, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good to be back. Good seeing you again. Happy podcasting Sunday.
Podcasting Sunday. Man, it's funny because I kind of missed the whole Sunday thing where, you have to, like, get there. And it kind of made me like, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. It's like, well, whenever Joe's ready. Whenever Joe's ready. Yeah. And trust me, it was fun having those guys on the Ordinary Joe's podcast. Just to, help special guests, but it wasn't the same without the original Ordinary Joe on the podcast.
Thank you. And just to piggyback off that real quickly, I want to thank those guys. Shout out to my brothers, Evan Rowe, for holding it down, trying to take my job, and Big Sean Garrett for stepping in. And it's always fun watching him. I hope, I'd like to get him back on here with all of us, and chop it up with him. We have something planned where we're going to get Sean on. I think me and Sean said we were going to have a threesome. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the three
That'll
of us.
Be fun.
The 3 of us. I don't know. We'll discuss that moving forward. But man, let's go ahead.
Maybe we call it something else.
Yeah, we were trying to think of a different name. Sausage Party doesn't work either. So that doesn't work either. So. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get this going. Man, see, I don't even know where to go. I am Eric B.
And I'm Joe D. And we are the Ordinary Joes.
Yay! And of
I almost forgot about the intro.
Tomorrow we're gonna listen to it. And it's gonna be like Ordinary Joes. So for you guys, again, who haven't watched any of the Loki's episode, this is again spoiler alert for you who haven't watched it. But I wanted to play this, and I told Joe I was gonna play this. And I totally screwed it up right here with the. It's the opening scene of Loki. He takes the Tesseract from Endgame, right? Hulk gets mad, messes everything up. Loki takes the Tesseract, and then you just hear Thor in the background.
Where's Loki? Loki?
This is how the Loki series started, and then now they're showing the whole Marvel. MCU thing, and just that different sound that Marvel has. Man, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So yes, Loki. That's what we're talking about today. Anybody who watched the episodes or watched any of the series, what's your thoughts? Give us your thoughts. Joe, welcome back.
Thank you.
Go ahead and kick us off with your man, your shirt, man. It's killing me. You're the variant. I'm the TVA.
And this, just so you guys know, this was not planned. We didn't contact each other.
Not
it just
at all.
happened that way.
Not at all. If you guys know, I try to always dress for whatever we're going to talk about. So it's a little teaser of what we're going to talk about. And just so happens he had a variant shirt and I had a TVA shirt. And it's kind of cool because we're not both on the same team.
Yeah, you're brighter, and I'm like on the dark side.
He's the dark side.
Going good.
He's the mischief guy. Do we believe Joe? Is this really Joe right here? Is this really Joe, or is this somebody else? Go ahead, Joe. Kick us off with the week or the whole recap.
Yeah, whole recap. Well, I'm glad you played that clip because I'll be honest, I really wasn't paying attention at first when the series first started, and I was a little lost as to like, wait a minute, when is this taking place? Yes. And so I had to go back and look, and like he said, Endgame, when they went back in time to get the Infinity Stones, they went to, technically it was the Avengers 2012 movie.
Yes.
Right. And then that's when Loki escaped. He got the Tesseract and escaped. So right off the bat, I'm like, I'm loving the premise so far, right? And even before I get into all the stuff I love about it, I was like, I'm sure we sound like broken records when it comes to Marvel because we love everything they do. We're always like, it's great, it's fantastic, because it is. So I said, you know what? Let me start with the one thing about the show that I didn't care for. All right.
Yes, please.
I didn't hate, didn't ruin the show or anything like that. But that's maybe unpopular opinion, but I could have done without Owen Wilson. I'm sorry. Like I said, he didn't ruin it for me, but I just didn't buy him as like the straight man, pencil pushing bureaucratic TVA type. I get they wanted to have like the comic relief, but I like when you have a straight man that's funny without trying to be funny, and for me, he was just, I don't know. I hate to typecast, but people get typecast for a reason.
Yeah, they do.
And it was a little hard for me, just to buy him as the character. But again, as time went on in the show, I kind of forgot about it. I mean, it wasn't like the worst thing, and the writing and everything's still so good, They didn't kill it for me, but if there was one thing about this series I didn't really care for, was him. But how did you feel he?
I'm totally opposite of what you're thinking right now.
I figured.
And the only reason why I like him is, like you said, you had a whole serious cast with the two Lokis and Ravonna Renslayer, or the head of the TVA, and then you had him who was kind of the whole, I believe in the TVA. I believe in this is what we do. And then Loki kind of is like, dude, this is all fake. You're not real. And it kind of makes him like, at the end of the movies, if again, spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen it, it kind of made him like, what the hell are we doing this for then? And he played that cool, like he's not serious, but he's also, I don't want to say dumb looking, but he kind of has that look where, you knew if Loki was going to persuade him, he'd get persuaded easily, right? I mean, that was a good thing about him. But the one thing, the whole movie, I kind of wish he did, or at least threw in, was I kind of wish he threw in a ka-chow from Cars. It's like I was hoping he did that. Disney now does own Marvel, and Marvel and Disney are together, so I was hoping he did the ka-chow.
Well, I was actually hoping for the I don't know if he did it. His signature, wow. There's compilation videos out there of him just going wow in all his movies, and he may have done it. I didn't catch it.
He could have done it. And again, you're right. I was so busy looking for or listening for ka-chow that he could have been the whole wow. You are the god of mischief. You know what? I'm gonna have to watch all 6 episodes now.
Seriously, now that I think about it, I have to go back.
Yes, I'm gonna have to watch it, man. But man, again, from the very first episode, Glorious Purposes, episode 1, that whole scene where he, after Endgame, he steals the Tesseract. And we were all wondering, all us Marvel fans was wondering, how are you going to bring him back? Because Thanos kills him. And Thanos said, no resurrection for you, meaning that you're gone, you're done. Then Disney Plus and Marvel says, nope, we're coming out with a Loki series. So we're like, okay, well, how are you going to bring him back? The writing Marvel has, man, shout out to the writers that you have, because for the longest time we were all wondering, how are you going to bring him back? We all knew time travel had something to do with it. We all knew he was going to go back in time, figure it out. But just that one scene in Endgame when he steals the Tesseract, disappears, we all knew, all right, shit, that's when they're going to bring him back. Yeah. And then they bring him all the way to Mongolia. And did you notice the Easter egg where he lands in Mongolia? He's all spread out in the desert like that. That's the same Easter egg in Captain America, not Captain America, sorry, Iron Man 1. Oh, okay. When he makes the iron suit for the first time, and then he crashes in the desert. Also, little Easter egg there. So pretty cool Easter egg that Marvel threw in. But yeah, man, just everything else. Owen Wilson. Like you said, I kind of forgot about him towards, it's like he did
and they did really good development of the character. He does he becomes likable. Yes. I'm nitpicking, honestly.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to sound monotonous and say I love it, but I do. It's great.
I mean, I didn't love him, but I also didn't. I mean, now going back, thinking about it, if they had to throw someone else in there, who else would have fit that role? I mean, I could see a Keanu Reeves playing that role.
Keanu Reeves is a good one.
Yeah.
I think Jason Bateman would have did really good at that role.
Yeah.
He's good at being the straight guy and still being funny. I mean, there's a few names, but I don't think, honestly, it would have really made that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Because what's his name? Hiddleston, I believe.
Hiddleston,
Loki. I mean, he for the most part carries the show, and he plays Loki in a way that's a little different than we've seen from the movies.
Yes,
and he's, in my opinion, more likable.
Yeah.
He's wittier. I mean, he played it really well, and then he has to play a few versions of himself at one point. That one scene. So he's like the typical Loki that we know in that one scene where they're all a bunch of Lokis fighting each other, which is freaking hilarious. But yeah, shout outs to him. I mean, he really carried that show. In my opinion, there's a lot of great actors on the show, but he was just the star.
Piggybacking off that, what you just said, I kind of wish they showed more of the different Lokis. I mean, just that one scene, that one episode, I think it was like episode 5, where they showed the different Lokis, and they showed the one Tom Hiddleston, the one that was voting for president and all that, right? Or vote for Loki. That character played a different. I mean, he was like, that asshole character that we expect Loki to be. Then you have the regular Loki, who's kind of like, what's wrong with you? Why are you thinking this way? I kind of wish they brought different variants of Loki with Tom Hiddleston playing that different variant. So that way, we know he's a good actor. We've seen the way he's act outside of Marvel. If they showed more of that, I think I would have been like, yeah, man, this is Tom Hiddleston is the guy. It's like he can branch off a different character and play a different, Loki. I kind of wish they did that, but
Yeah. I thought the same thing too, especially in that scene. I was like, why didn't they do more of that? And the only thing I could think of is maybe, budget wise with the special effects, probably would it cost less for them to just write in a way to have other people play Loki. I'm guessing, but either way, I even like some of the other Lokis. Sylvie. I mean, I think she's freaking awesome. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Sylvie is a female variant of Loki who he ends up meeting and who the TVA is trying to catch. And that's the whole reason why they use him, is to try to catch her. They don't know it's a her until they find it. And spoiler alert again, I mean, they end up teaming up and falling for each other, which is genius.
Yes.
And he's such a narcissist.
Yes.
If there was anyone who would fall in love with themselves, it's Loki.
I love that part. And that one scene when they were stuck in that planet and they were most likely gonna die, and they start feeling for each other, and then Owen Wilson's looking at the timeline, they're like, you ever seen a branch like that? And everyone's like, oh, it's love. No, it's the narcissistic love that you have for yourself that's branching out. Like, man, that whole, like, again, Marvel and the writers, man, it's like, everybody knows Loki is narcissistic. He loves himself. He'll do anything for himself. And to bring in a female variant of Sylvie and to fall in love with Sylvie, it's kind of like, in a way you're like, for me, I was like, I don't know if I like this. This is kind of
it's a little weird.
But then you think about it, you fall in love with yourself. If you're that narcissistic, you are going to fall in love with yourself. I kind of loved how they did that.
And they did such a good job of playing the male and female version of him. She was. I definitely bought her as a Loki.
Yes.
And even though it's narcissistic, they still made it. It seemed genuine, you know what I mean? Because although they're the same, they're the variants of the same person, they're still different people. So you have that, and then they genuinely do fall for each other, but it's just that weird factor of like, well, but you're still me.
Yeah. It's kind of like the whole, the Game of Thrones, you guys are brothers and sisters kind of thing. That's kind of how I looked at it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, it's just a different Loki from a different universe, but it's the female version. So again, shout out to Marvel for doing that, man. It's like, it kind of made it, gave us that whole attitude, but at the same time, you're like, I wonder where this is gonna go, you know. So,
and did you see the little and you know, Marvel is known for being progressive, I guess, and open-minded with things, and they dropped a little jewel there of Loki maybe being bisexual. When he first meets Sylvie, I believe, and they're talking, and he says, you know, you've had men and women, whatever. And I believe he says something like, maybe both, or something like along those lines.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, okay, they're just throwing it out there, you know. But that was Loki. He indulged in everything. I mean, if it was up to him, Asgard would have been like Sodom and Gomorrah.
And that scene in Thor Ragnarok, that's pretty much how, remember when Thor comes back and Loki's pretending to be the dad, that's pretty much how he was headed. If Thor never came back, I'm pretty sure Sodom and Gomorrah would have been Asgard. You know, everybody would have been sleeping with everybody, and there would have been no sexual preference for anybody there. And if Loki had his way, that's what would have happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did they ever say, I'm pretty sure they did, and it's just one of those things that I wasn't paying attention to. Did they ever say why Sylvie was a variant? Why was she a female variant of Loki, and that's why the TVA took her?
Oh man, you know, they did, and I forgot what it was. I think they went back and got her before her event. That's why she was a kid, but I forgot what it was. But they do mention it. She actually mentions it when she's having that moment, I think, with who's the head of the Ravonna, whatever her name is. But yeah, that's something we, you know. Actually, if you guys know, just leave in the comments, because I don't know if I'll go back to that.
I mean, it's like, to me, this is, you know, I always look for plot holes. I always look for what they could have done better or what they could have explained better. And in this one, she did kind of sort of explain why they got her, but she was like 6 or 7 years old. Why did you wait that long to get her, when if you knew Loki was going to be a female, why didn't you just get her at birth, where she didn't have enough memory or didn't have memories for her? Someone on Twitter, I read one time, someone on Twitter said they got her because they wanted her to be part of the TVA. They wanted her, she's like powerful enough to be part of the TVA, and that's why they wanted her. But they never mentioned that in the movie, so I don't know if that's, you know, someone just saying it, or if it's actual facts, if it's like in the comic book. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Actually, and that's a tough one, because like we eventually find out, you know, everyone in the TVA is a variant.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, are they all bad people? Did they do something bad, or were they just snatched from their timeline? You know, that's the one thing. And whenever you talk about time travel in any movie or books, once you really get deep into the whole time travel and the paradoxes and all that, it really gets confusing. And you could leave a lot of holes. Cause like, I was wondering, okay, when Loki in the end game, when he takes the Tesseract and he disappears, it's like, well, that means he never died, and what was supposed to happen never happened.
Exactly.
But someone explained that as soon as he created that you know, that extra branch, arm, whatever, that branch, when they found him, when the TVA found him, they got rid of that timeline like they do with all the other variants. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense, I guess, you know. So there's some things, there's holes, other things they explain, and I'm just kind of like, well, I'm gonna just keep going with it, because otherwise, if I think too hard, I'm just gonna get lost.
I'm gonna come back to that in a second, just because there's something on the timeline that I'm questioning about that has something to do with Endgame, but not really Loki. But how'd you feel about him being DB Cooper?
I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of interesting, you know, because when you go that route, it's kind of endless what famous people could have been a Loki, and I think they actually could have had a lot more fun with that. And who knows, maybe they'll do that in the next season. But I thought it was pretty cool.
I just loved how the whole DB Cooper thing was set up, right? And you know, if you follow DB Cooper, they only found certain amount of money they didn't find anything else. They didn't find the parachute. They didn't find, they only found a couple $1,000 supposedly, right? So when he jumps out of the plane and Heimdall gets him out, they show that little bit of money that supposedly was found later on, right? So I'm like, God, these Marvel writers are freaking geniuses, man.
Yeah.
To show the little details like that, man. I love that.
When it comes to like the Easter eggs and arching stories that intertwine, they're really, really good at that. And it makes me wonder how the writing process is.
Oh my God.
Do they have like a shit ton of writers in one room and everybody's just throwing out ideas, or is it one main person and he gets like I don't know, whatever they do, it's magic to me because it's great.
With that too, I kind of wish they did a little bit more like unsolved mysteries kind of thing. I was kind of, they showed us DB Cooper. They didn't really show anything else, but I kind of wish they showed like, other things like, hey, Loki, you're the reason why Pompeii's volcano exploded. They didn't, I kind of wish they did that. So it's kind of like we're sitting here like this really happened, but fictionally Loki really did it.
Right.
So
it was like a tease because like you said, I think they could have had so much more fun with that.
They could have done so much more. How do you feel about the whole TVA? I mean, did you like how they were taking variants and bringing them in this whole facility kind of thing?
Yeah. It's a tough one. I'm going to kind of jump to the end here.
Yeah.
When they meet with the one, what is his name? The one who remains. He who remains.
Yeah.
He who remains. And he explains why he created the TVA in the timeline, and it was to prevent other versions of himself from coming, spawning out, and then there being this huge multiverse war thing again. But it's like, I don't know if I trust him.
That version of him, the one that we just saw.
The one in the movie,
Okay.
the one in the series. I don't know that we can really trust everything he's saying. But as far as the TVA, I don't know, man. I think it's kind of, it makes sense in the realm of the movie, but I think it's kind of fucked up what they did.
Yeah,
like kidnapping kids,
kidnapping
people, and basically like putting them in the Matrix, pretty much, and lying to them. So I mean, it kind of sucks.
That poor guy who played Casey, Eugene Cordero, right? He plays Casey. He's one of the admin guys in the beginning that Loki's like, get me out of here. He didn't even know what a fish was.
Yeah.
I'll cut you like a fish. What's a fish? What does that mean? It's like, so when he said that was what kind of the first clue to me that made me wonder, like, when are they taking these people?
Yeah.
Do they not have fish in the TVA? Or it's like, and.
Are they taking them that, or are they kind of, I don't know, because when Sylvie is with that one, soldier chick, C20 or whoever, and she's making her see her real past, she was already an adult. So they must do something to wipe away their memories or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she didn't remember until she had that moment with Sylvie when she would do that mind melding thing, whatever
they did the Men in Black, the little
look here.
Yeah. I kind of wish they showed us that though. Her name is Hunter B15.
There you go.
Wunmi Mosaku. I can't even say her name right. Wunmi Mosaku. But I kind of wish they showed us what Sylvie was showing her for her to feel. I mean, because she went from, no, we're not variants, you're a variant, to all of a sudden I had something before this.
Right. Well, they did. They showed that there's the one scene where they're sitting together and they're having lunch. I don't know if you remember that. And it's C15, whatever, and it's Sylvie, and Sylvie looks like a normal girl, and they're sitting having lunch, and it's kind of like a flashback.
That's the C20 one. Yeah, that's the C20. That's the younger.
Oh, the younger. Oh, that's right. No, you're talking. Yes,
talking about the big husky one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Forgive me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. My wife was saying the same thing. She's like, it would have been so cool if like they actually showed us what it was. She was seeing. That was a bummer, but who knows? Maybe that might come out later on
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: there will be another season if you haven't.
They said it. Season 2 will come out, which kind of brings me to the end. I don't want to talk about the end. Well, it kind of brings me to the end of season 2. Where are they going to go with this? Because season 1 ends with, if you guys don't know who the one what is it? The one who remains, or
he who remains.
He who remains is Kang the Conqueror. And he says that, I have been giving very different names, the Conqueror. He doesn't call himself Kang, but he calls himself the Conqueror. He says the Jerk or all that stuff. Yeah. And if you follow the comics, Ravonna is dating Kang the Conqueror.
Right.
And she does leave and says, the one who has, whatever self.
I'm going to find free will.
Yeah, free will. Like so are we going to go follow her? Because Kang the Conqueror is rumored to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp Part 3. We're already having the Spider-Man Multiverse of Madness. And then we're having Doctor Strange. It's Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So we're having all that going on. So where's this? I want to know where this Loki season 2 is going to end up.
Yeah. I think it's probably, in my opinion, it's going to show us the beginning of the multiverse war. Okay, so I don't know if it was Disney or whoever, but it's already been announced that Jonathan Majors, who plays He Who Remains, is playing King the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp and was it Quantumania?
Yes, Quantumania.
So we already know he's coming. So that right there is kind of like a spoiler alert. And then what is the new Spider-Man called?
Multiverse something Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man No Way Home. So it's already being rumored that Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to be in it. So that's making me think these are going to be different variants of Spider-Man that at some point are going to come together. So, and then like you said, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I think all this is gearing up for the new, phase of the MCU.
Yeah. Phase.
Which, if that's the case, 4. I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. And don't forget, was it Andrew Molina? Is that his name? The one who played Doc Ock is rumored to be back as Doc Ock. So I guess Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole Back to the Future. I guess someone messed up the timeline, so he has to find a way to go back home. Yeah, which is kind of cool. So this whole Loki thing kind of gives us, this is how it started. Sylvie kind of messed up the timeline.
Right.
Now Spider-Man No Way Home's coming out. He's in a different timeline. So I'm trying to figure out if Ant-Man and the Wasp, are they trying to fix the timeline, or is Doctor Strange trying to fix the timeline?
Yeah, it could be, because there was an Easter egg in one of the Ant-Man movies. The Ant-Man and the Wasp, where they show a little city in a bubble, and they say that looks exactly like Kang's Chronopolis from the comics. And there's a theory that I guess because in the quantum realm, time doesn't exist. That's probably where Kang the Conqueror has been hiding out.
Yeah.
So it all kind of like fits together, and I love the way they drop all those little Easter eggs and all that. And what makes it even more exciting for me is that with all the talk of time travel and these different branches, that leaves it wide open to bring back some of the Avenger characters.
Yeah.
So we're all depressed that we're not going to see them anymore. Who knows? This can bring back,
certain characters.
Iron Man. Yeah. I really hope they bring back the Hulk. I can't get that's my favorite Marvel character, so I can't get enough of that guy. But who knows? I don't know.
Well, I read a line where they said they're bringing back Mark Ruffalo as, David Banner and the Hulk, but they're not bringing back Smart Hulk. Because they said he didn't do well, in people's polls. Like, they didn't like that version of Hulk. They want either Banner or Hulk. Bring me one of the two.
You know what's funny? Just off topic. I started going back. I have the Marvel app, and I love it because it basically has, if you don't know about it, and this is not sponsored by them, but the Marvel app, you can pretty much, it's like Kindle for comic books, Marvel comics, and you can read all the comics. And I went back to the first appearances of Incredible Hulk, and I did not know that he has not been the Hulk that we know today. You know, the stupid, dumb Hulk. Like, he used to have to actually, Dr. Banner would have to shoot himself with a ray gun to turn into the Hulk. And he spoke normally. He was still smart when he was the Hulk. And over time, I guess, you know, it evolved to what it is now. I haven't read to that point yet. But, you know, Incredible Hulk actually started out as Smart Hulk. He was smart in the beginning, but I guess they try to pay homage to the original stuff, and everybody's like, no, we want Hulk smash.
Want regular, we want the smash. When he went back to New York, he was like, oh, smash. He's like, he's like, oh god, it's so embarrassing. but yeah, this Loki, I love the fact that it's going to open up doors to, I mean, right now, you and I are just speculating what's going to happen and what's, you know, like, and when it does happen, it's going to be that whole, you know, emoji with the head explosion. We're like, oh, damn, this is, you know, and I love what they did. Again, Marvel writers and how they're writing things. And, you know, you're bringing us different characters that are we going to see Sylvie in the big screen, you know? We know we already seen Tom Hiddleston in the big screen. So are we going to see, you know, Sylvie in the big screen, or is she just going to remain on Disney Plus and, you know, season 2 Loki? How did you like Jonathan Majors as, you know, He Who Remains?
You know, I kind of want to wait till I see him as Kang the Conqueror, you know, because I think it makes sense. Like, to me, when I first saw him, I was like, what is this? It's not what you expect. He even says it, you know, it's just a guy. He's a little weird and kind of like, I don't know, not silly, but he jokes a lot, but he has like this kind of evil thing about him, like right under the surface. I think he played it pretty good. You know, considering he's someone who's probably lived this lifetime over and over again a million times, so he could kind of plays it like a psycho sort of. I liked him. But I really want to see how he plays Kang. If he plays it how you know Kang to be, Kang the Conqueror, then I think it's amazing, because then his range is like off the charts.
Yeah. Going to that last episode and him telling Sylvie, this is what's going to happen. He even showed a little illustration of why he you know, he's who he is. Right. Just Loki was like, I believe him. But Sylvie's like, no, we still got to kill him.
Yeah.
So it kind of that last episode, and going to different episodes, different season finales of different movies, series. I know they do this because they're trying to get it ready for the second season, you know. I know that's why they do it, but I did not like this season finale. I didn't, you know. You and I put this on top of like Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, where that season finale was like, wow, you know, wow. This one kind of, it was the whole, like, if you're watching like a Friends episode on TV and they end the season finale with a cliffhanger, this is kind of how this ended. You know, it's kind of like, okay, now what? There was more talking than there was really action, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I agree with you, because like, you take Lord of the Rings series, for instance, right? You know, that's gonna be a cliffhanger, because you know it's gonna be 3 movies.
Yeah.
But it still gives you closure in that first movie. Even though you know there's still more to the story, you're satisfied up to that point with what went on and what they've done. Yeah, I agree. They don't do that with this. It really is just like, well, when's the next one coming out? Yeah, you know, like exactly. There was still, you know, but hopefully that means that they're not going to make us wait too long. I don't know.
Well, a friend of mine who also watches, a big Marvel fan, she's one of my coworkers, she said, well, it kind of brings you to this point where WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, are they going to make a season 2? Because they never told us about season 2 for those 2 movies. Right. And we all know WandaVision is going to be in Doctor Strange. or Wanda's going to be in Doctor Strange, and we all know Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to do another something big screen wise. So did they not prepare us for season 2 because those two guys are going to be on the big screen next, while Loki, not really sure what they're going to do with him, so they're just going to keep him on Disney Plus? Makes me wonder. I kind of, like, okay, are they going to bring him back in Quantumania? Are they going to bring him back in, Doctor Strange, or is he just going to stay here?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident they're going to bring him back, only because this is really, like I said, the seed of what's to come for the new MCU.
Yeah.
So or at least I hope they bring him back. I mean, for me, it would make sense, to have him there, because the show was just so good that I feel like it would just easily translate into the movie, because I'm excited about the new Captain America. I'm excited, with the new Wanda. And I haven't seen Black Widow yet, so don't ruin it for me.
Okay,
that's next on the docket.
Spoiler alert. No spoiler alert.
No. It's about to put you on mute.
No spoiler alert. No.
I mean, hopefully they bring it back. I hope.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, I want them to. I want them to bring it back, but I kind of want to see Tom Hiddleston. I like him as you said this earlier. He played a nice character where in the earlier episodes of any Loki involvement, you hated him.
Yeah,
he's mischievous. He was a liar. He even admits this in this movie, in this series. I'm a liar. No one trusts me. So I kind of like that Loki. I kind of like the whole, I'm dead but not really dead. I'm good but not really good. I kind of like that Loki. But this Loki, I like also, but it kind of makes, I don't know, it kind of makes the whole villain thing to me not so villainy. And I like the villains in these characters.
Right. And I mean, and if you think about Loki in the his first appearances in the movies in Thor, all he really wanted was to be loved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just misunderstood. He wanted the love of his father, always living under the shadow of Thor, and the blue guy got to him, and he went to the dark side. But I feel like in his heart, he's always been good. Even when he talks about his mom at one point in the series, and you can see like that hurt him, because he's like, she was a great woman. You know what I mean? Like, so I always like to think that he's always been the bad good guy.
Yeah.
You can count on him, screwing you over, but ultimately I don't think he's gonna,
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they did that, and the twist where you bring back 2012 Loki. So everything after 2012, he doesn't have no memory of, because it never happened to him, to this Loki. Then, Morbius, Owen Wilson plays the video, shows that his dad dies, shows Thor says, dude, you're my brother. I just want you to be my brother. And then shows that his mom passed away. So that kind of brought us to what you just said. He's really a real guy who just wanted that attention. Yeah. Then when he saw all this, and when he saw that he's the reason why his mom died, because, they brought the dark elves. He says, take the stairs to the left. So he's the reason why, and he kind of did the whole like, oh man, I'm the one that killed my mom.
He's like, shit,
Jesus Christ,
dick.
I didn't know I was that bad, but it kind of brought us to his character build up to where he's like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person anymore, and I want to be this person. So I kind of like that. Again, the writers, man, just the way they write things.
And I think that's what the band of Lokis that he ended up teaming up with when he was pruned, the old Loki, the young one, the alligator. I think they kind of represented the good side of him. Yeah. Because we have that other scene where all these other gang of Lokis come in, they're obviously all out to get each other and screw each other over. But those, with the exception of I forget his name, the big black guy.
Yeah.
With the exception of him, the other four stood by his side and helped him out. And obviously we see the old Loki who freaking saved the day, essentially.
Man.
Using his magic. So I feel like they represented the good side of him. Like it was still Loki, but I think in this show, the series, he leaned towards the nicer side of Loki. And I think that's what was why he was so likable, because I don't know I'll be honest, when I first heard they were coming out with a Loki series, I was like, I don't know, like, can you really carry a whole series? And man, he does it
the way they wrote it. Let me ask you this: do you think that alligator was really a Loki? That's like a question everyone's asking. Was he really a Loki? Because there's nothing in the comic book that shows an alligator Loki.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, it's kind of something weird to write in. Maybe somewhere there's an Easter egg. I don't know, but I thought it was funny.
He bit off Bad Loki's arm, and that's the only really thing he did. But yeah. Like, I saw that on one of the Twitter pages. Like, is this really a Loki, or they just find and put a little Loki crown on his head?
That was funny.
You know what I wish they did? In episode 5, Journey into the Mystery, they showed Frog Thor. Did you see that? In the opening, I think
I missed that.
Okay, go back to the opening credits, the opening scenes where they show
of the last episode, or the first
episode 5.
5, okay.
Episode 5. They're panning up, and they show like the ground, and it's like what's buried in that ground. They show Thor's hammer, right? And right below Thor's hammer is a glass, and there's like a frog jumping in and out of that because he's trying to get Thor's hammer.
Oh, that's funny.
And that's Frog Thor. And I just kept thinking, God, just imagine what if Frog Thor got out and actually got a millionaire.
Yeah.
No,
that's
Frog.
Hilarious.
It was kind of like, Jesus, this is gonna. Thor, they showed Thor. It was just the frog version of Thor.
That's hilarious.
So now you have the alligator Loki and the frog Thor.
Speaking of Thor, I was kind of hoping, and only because Falcon and the Winter Soldier was sort of the origin story of the new, Sam Wilson Captain America. The same with a few characters in WandaVision, their origin stories. I was really hoping that we were going to see the origin story of the Jane Foster Thor. Yeah. Because in the comic books, she becomes Thor. I don't know exactly how I would have to read up, but she becomes Thor. And so I figured maybe the series would follow suit with all the other ones and kind of get that ready for the MCU. There's still a second season, so who knows? Yeah. But I'm really interested in seeing if they're going to bring that to the big screen, because I think that would be pretty cool.
I'm not a big Jane Foster character. I'm not. I mean, when they said Thor: Love and Thunder is coming out, and what's her name, who's playing Jane Foster, is coming back, I'm like, oh man, I didn't like Thor 2 with her in it. It's even Thor 1, I didn't like it with her in it. It's just It's just I didn't feel her character as Jane Foster. That's the only reason why.
Yeah,
Natalie Portman, that's her name.
Natalie Portman. Yeah. I just hope it's not another Captain Marvel. If I had to say there was any character that I liked the least, and it wasn't the character, but the person playing it was whoever played Captain Marvel.
You didn't like Brie Larson?
No.
I like Brie Larson. I like Brie Larson. I like the Captain Marvel character. Brie Larson was okay to me. I mean, she played the character right, I guess I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. Again, I'm nitpicking. It's kind of hard to find something that you don't like from Marvel.
Yeah. I mean, what I didn't like from, if you want to go back and don't like anybody's, like, I didn't like, but I didn't feel Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. I didn't feel her character.
Yeah, and she's one I'm not sure if they're going to bring to the big screen either. That was another origin story, and I'm like, I felt the same way. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if she can carry that role to the big screen.
Yeah, she's a supporting superhero. She needs to be with a famous superhero for her to be, maybe they're going to bring her back in Captain Marvel too, as so we'll I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So is there for sure going to be Captain Marvel 2? Yes,
there's going to be a Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
We're looking, I mean, the MCU already brought out what they said they're going to do, so we're not looking to like 2023, 24 on a lot of these things. And something when I did an interview with Aaron Buellner, who played the robot scanner and Loki, he did mention a lot of the things that they wanted to do, they couldn't do because of this was all being filmed during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he said there was a lot of things that they left on the cutting room floor. You know, ideas, stories that they wanted to evolve because they were just trying to get the story out, put it out, and then go from there. And then he also did mention, if you look at Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, there's only 6 episodes because that's what they could do during COVID versus WandaVision where they had 12 episodes because they started filming WandaVision before COVID. So he's hoping next season, and this is what he says, he's hoping next season that Loki is going to come out with 12 episodes. And I can't wait if they did do that, you know.
That makes more sense to me because I also wondered why they filmed so much of it at the TVA.
Yeah.
You know, a lot that was maybe one thing also that kind of got to me a little bit was like the scenery change there wasn't a lot of it. It was kind of like that terrible Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah. What Mortal Kombat movie?
We already did that though. You could go back and watch that episode.
What Mortal Kombat movie? Oh, there was actual movie?
If you want to call it that.
Jeez. But yeah, I mean, you know, what can the MCU do with COVID out of the picture? You know, what can they? Yeah, they'll probably bring us a brighter storyline, and you know, and I told you this when we did our Falcon Winter Soldier recap. Is 6 episodes to me feels rushed, and and for them to end Loki on the 6th episode with just a bunch of hoopla talk to get us ready for, I don't know if they're getting us ready for season 2 or if they're getting us ready for the movies. You know, I just feel like it was kind of rushed again with, you know, they had to get everything out within 6 episodes. And it was only 47 minutes tops, 50 minutes, not even an hour.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly what it was like, you know what, we want to save all the good stuff for when we can actually film it and we have all our resources. So we'll just talk you to death for the last one. I mean, it wasn't terrible.
No.
But it kind of reminded me of the scene in The Matrix 3 when they're trying to explain what the Matrix is. And you're like, wait, what? Not that bad, but it was along those lines of like, wait a minute, time out. I gotta write this down.
Well, Jonathan Majors did a good job on explaining his character development, his role, and how he talked about the multiverse, the different versions of him was around. And I love the visual effects that they put in that whatever thing that he had, that little claymation that they had. I love that. I love the fact that he explained it to where we were still interested, and he sold Loki. He sold me. You know, I was like, well, shit, keep him.
Yeah.
You know, who wants to see a worse version of him? You know,
and that was the thing. I think Sylvie couldn't understand because Loki was like, well, you know, all I'm saying is let's not rush into this. Let's think about it. You know, I'm not saying I want to take over everything, but maybe it's not that bad of an idea not to let a million fucking kings out into the world and, you know, start a multiverse war. But typical, you know, Loki, hot-headed, untrusting side of her took over. And
he saw that too. Kang saw that. When they first got in there in episode 6, he said, you know, do you trust him? Do you trust him? You know, and Loki, male Loki was like, what? What do you, of course she trusts me.
Yeah.
And they show her and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. And her attitude changed right after that.
Yeah.
You know, he got to it because he knew what to say. He had it all there laid out.
Written out. That's kind of creepy. It makes me wonder. So this whole episode from 1 through 6 made me wonder if there's ever, is there such a thing as, you know, the TVA? Is there such thing as variants? Are we variants of a multiverse or a universe that we were supposed to be part of? Is there really, you know, when they talk about doppelgangers, there's someone that looks like you, but not you. Is there such a thing as that? It makes me wonder. I mean, it's like this whole Marvel, everything just makes me wonder about a lot of different things.
I definitely believe in doppelgangers. Just get off topic real quick.
Yeah.
I had one that lived in Staten Island. Looked like me, dressed like me, wore the same. I used to wear an Astros hat. Okay. Now, I'm a New Yorker wearing an Astros hat. You would think you wouldn't see that many. No, he had the same exact one.
Wow.
Both my mom and my sister on separate occasions saw him, and he looked so much like me that they both each time approached him, like calling him like, well, dude, what's your problem? It's like, oh my God, sorry, I thought you were my brother, which had me scared because I'm like, if that's not a version of me, this guy's going to get me in trouble if he commits a crime or something, because we obviously live in the same neighborhood.
Joe's walking in the morning to the smokehouse to get his little dime bag, and the guy's like, "Weren't you just here 10 minutes ago?"
Yeah, exactly.
Weren't you just here? I just gave you one.
Yeah. I personally believe in doppelgangers.
That's kind of cool and creepy at the same time. Like you said, if this guy commits a crime, they come to you and they're like, "Nope, dude, you're wearing that Houston Astros hat. You're the one. You got the,
you know what I mean?
You got the Jordans or whatever you were wearing back then. That's definitely you." But again, multiverse. Are these people coming from different dimensions? Are they coming from the whole, again, not to go off topic, the whole Bigfoot's theory people are saying is the reason why we don't see Bigfoot is because he's coming through a portal. He goes through one portal, comes out, someone sees him for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then he goes back to that portal. So is this what's going on? Do we have a TVA that's hiding Bigfoot from us? Is this the storyline?
And this is what's great about Marvel and their writing, because they always find a way to write in real science. I mean, it's science fiction, but they do it in such a way that if you're anybody like us who even half-ass pays attention to sciencey type things, that's what you start thinking of. You're like, oh my God. Like, I mean, that's a lot of physicists believe in multiple universes, right? That kind of lay next to each other, and there's could be limitless versions of all of us. Like, all of that is what they tackle in Loki, but they just throw the TVA in there, and who's to say something like that doesn't exist?
Yeah. I mean, it's like that whole, like when the very beginning first episode when Miss Minute was explaining the whole, the sacred timeline, and then if someone falls out, becomes a variant. How many of that actually really happened now in reality to us? I mean, is there something that, happened that wasn't supposed to happen that caused, like World War II, Hitler, Vietnam War? Was that all not supposed to happen, but someone messed it up in the timeline and it did happen? I mean, it just makes you wonder.
Makes me wonder.
It's all fictional, but it makes me wonder,
It makes me wonder every so often. I'm like, Jesus, I live in California. How the hell did that happen? I really do feel like I'm a variant, because if you would have asked me 10 years ago or told me 10 years ago, hey, you're going to be working here and you're going to be living in California, in San Francisco of all places, like, what are you smoking? Let me have some.
San Francisco.
But, and it's, again, all these kind of major events that change the timeline. I mean, that's just like your life. All these things that could or couldn't have happened or didn't happen that could have changed the course of your life. You've been there. We've spoken about it here. So that's why I love Marvel, and I love when they really get into their science fiction bag and really kind of go that geeky route, because like we could get lost into that, for hours. The possibilities.
Yeah.
What did you think of that time chick? I think there's more to her.
Miss Minute. Yeah. I think Miss Minute has the end episode, the very, when they go into the He Who Remains' castle, and she's trying to persuade Loki, we can give you Asgard. We can give you this. We can make you this. I think she's working for Kang the Conqueror. I think that's who's behind the whole thing. And it shows us too, like when, Ravona's looking at her little iPod or whatever she's looking at. She goes, these aren't the files that I asked for. And she said, these are the files he wants you to see.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she's packing up. She's getting ready to leave. She's doing all this stuff. So yeah, if that's not Kang the Conqueror that's talking, then she works for Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think so. That was his little fail safe to get his woman out of there.
Yeah, and it's funny because to us, it's like in the first episode, we're like, oh, this is cool, Miss Minute. This kind of reminds me of the 80s TV show cartoons back in the days. And then that last episode where she's like, I was like, oh man, you're evil.
Yeah, she got a little scary there. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, there's more to this chick. It's
Her-
not a friendly cartoon.
Her country accent almost became creepy country accent, So yeah, I mean, I want to see more of that, more Miss Minute, and it's funny because I got this shirt and I picked this shirt over the Miss Minute shirt. It was actually a shirt that says Miss Minute and just the clock. But when I put it on, I said, yeah, it's gonna kind of make me look like Flavor Flav because I have that. The clock will be sitting right on my chest. If you guys are watching on YouTube, it's be sitting right on my chest, and all I needed was that chain, and I would have looked like Flavor Flav. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna get the TVA shirt.
Yeah, that's funny because I saw that same shirt and I was kind of like, for me, I was just like, I'm so big that she's just gonna look huge.
Yeah.
On my stomach. So I'm like, I'll go with the variant.
Yeah,
I
like that shirt.
I relate more to that.
I like that shirt. I wish. I'm kind of glad I didn't buy it because you have it. But it kind of makes me wonder, like, is Joe really a variant?
Is he really here? I've been gone this whole
really...
time.
Oh wait, wrong soundboard. That's the one I was looking for.
That was the other one was the Pitbull variant of me.
This is the Staten Island variant that Joe's still walking around, probably doing a podcast over there as well.
I'm a DJ over there. I play club music.
He's doing a podcast. The Staten Island variant of Joe is doing a podcast right now, and he's talking about something else.
His name's Joey D.
And they're the Unusual Joe's podcast.
Yeah. Forget about it. So I brought up in the beginning how this whole timeline thing was messed up, right? And how the whole thing was messed up. Someone pointed out that the reason why that last timeline, where the end of the movie where, they kill Kang and everything branches out, and the end scene where they show Loki back at the TVA and Morbius and B-15 doesn't know who he is, right? They said, and again, I'm pulling here. This is not official. Right. They said that whole thing started not because Sylvie kills Kang. It started because Steve Rogers, Captain America, decides to stay in 1950 instead of going back into the future, going back to the present. So he created a branch.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. That's interesting. Again, all this intertwining stories. I completely forgot he went back in time.
Yeah.
And stayed there and lived a whole life.
Yeah.
Oh man. See? Now I can't wait here.
I really want Marvel, listen to me. I really want you to make an episode of Captain America. Either one episode or 6 episodes to show us how he brought each time stone back. Each Infinity Stone back to where it was supposed to be. I know it wasn't as easy as, let me open my suitcase, let me put this back here. Yeah. I know it wasn't that easy, because if Hulk had a hard time getting the time stone from, the ancient one, how hard would it have been for Captain America to put it back?
Right.
How did you put back the one in Volmir? You can't put back the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Soul for soul. So what do you.
They put it in that guy's desk in the TVA.
Oh my God, that episode.
How cool was that?
That episode, he was like, "What are these?" He goes, "Oh, those are Infinity Stones. We have some guys using them as paperweight." I was just like, "Wow."
That's such a kick in the leg.
See, so it made me wonder, like, Thanos, you're not that smart. Because if you were that smart, all you had to do was go to the TVA, get all 6 Infinity Stones from Caesar or Casey's desk, bring him back to reality, and then you had him right there.
And then, the older version of him, he doesn't really explain why Thanos doesn't come to power in his timeline.
Yeah.
All he says is that everything in my life has gone right. That's all he says. Yeah. So I was kind of curious what happened there. Like, what, but that's what I mean. Is this when you have that time travel, be the main plot and everything builds around that. It's just endless what you can do. Let me ask you, if there was a character from the original MCU that you could bring back with this time travel thing, who would it be?
Captain America.
Yeah.
Captain America. I mean, I love Tony Stark. I love Iron Man. He's the original, but his arrogance as Tony Stark can be the downfall of, moving forward. Where Steve Rogers, Captain America, his head is kind of like, I'm going to do and get this done, and I'm going to try to get this done correctly the right way. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back and portray his role as Captain America, even if it's just one episode to help bring back the timeline. And who knows, maybe Marvel will listen, and maybe they will show us how Steve Rogers brought back, the Infinity Stones and where they were supposed to be. Maybe, we'll see.
I hope so. But you know what? So far, I'm happy what they're doing. So
yeah, I
won't be completely bummed if we don't see any of those characters, because I know that they have a lot of cool stuff in store just off of what they've done with these series. That whole concept, I think, is just great. Having, giving us time, smaller episodes to really kind of build up the story, almost like you're reading comics.
Yeah.
And then drop the big bomb,
at the end. Yeah. I'm looking up Marvel's upcoming movies that we got to look forward to. Off the top of my head, I know Shang-Chi's coming out. The Eternals is supposed to be coming out.
Blade coming out too.
Blade's coming out. Yeah. I don't. How do you feel about the new Blade? I mean,
well, I'm excited about it. I'm not going to lump it with Wesley Snipes and his series.
Yeah.
For one, that's not Marvel. Two, Wesley Snipes is a little older. I don't think I would want to see him as Blade, but I wouldn't mind seeing him as kind of a character, just as an Easter egg if they did that, threw him in there, sort of. But I'm open to it, because I like what they've done so far, and I think they've done really good with the stories and the writing, that I think Blade would be a pretty cool character to see.
You remember how in the original Blade, was it Chris Christopherson was the Whisperer or whatever his name was? The old white guy that was helping Blade out.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they brought Wesley Snipes as him, as like, I'm the Whistler, whatever his name, Whistler, maybe it was Whistler. Bring him back, pay homage to the guy. I mean, it kind of sucks that Wesley Snipes, when he did Blade, Marvel wasn't really involved in it yet. But now that Marvel is bringing back Blade, pay homage to the guy. Bring him back, give him a character, make him a bad guy. Hell, he'd be better as a bad guy than he would be a good guy.
Let's face it, he's still in great shape for being however old he is.
Yeah.
And I've always liked Wesley Snipes, and I really do like his Blade series. Yeah. So I think you're right. You hit it right on the nose. Just kind of give him some props for something. What he's done.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies coming out moving forward. But the movies that we know for sure that's going to tie into Loki, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, what's the third one? And Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah,
so we know for sure that has something to do with the quantum realm. We already know that Kang the Conqueror is going to be the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp. We don't know who the villain is going to be in Doctor Strange yet. And Spider-Man, that's just going to be one of those crazy movies to watch, and I can't wait. I can't wait to watch that. So
that sounds like it's going to be fun.
Oh man, but moving forward, I'm hoping with all this quantum realm thing going on, all these time travels, I'm hoping they bring in the X-Men slowly. Bring them in. Man.
That has been a dream of mine. I am currently not happy with any of the X-Men movies or Wolverine, because X-Men as a whole was like my favorite comics growing up. It was Spider-Man, X-Men, and particularly Wolverine.
Yeah.
That was my, if you look at my collection, that was all I had. And I was not I want to see old school X-Men with the yellow and blue suits. Enough with the building the backstories. Like, we all know who the X-Men are. Just throw them out there. Let's just go. And if they did that, man, I mean, forget it. I'm a kid in a candy store.
Maybe, during this whole quantum realm, you'll see was it Richards? Was it Keith Richards? I forget what his first name is.
Keith Richards. Isn't that a musician?
No, that's I forget what his name is. Richard, what Reed.
Okay.
Was it Reed, the stretchy guy from Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
You know, I'm hoping somewhere there they show us, you know, like all of a sudden you see an elastic arm come out of nowhere and like pulls a kid from. I mean, I'm pulling here. I'm stretching this out as much as I can. But I'm hoping with these Disney Plus series, they show us a sneak of, you know, maybe, you know, and again, in Falcon and Winter Soldier, that hangout was Wolverine's hangout. So maybe they're building us up. Maybe somewhere in Loki we missed, you know, an Easter egg where, you know, one of the X-Men was really hanging out there and we didn't really see that, you know.
I know, right? Oh man, dude, don't. It's like that'd be my fantasy come true. This is to get a really good X-Men movie, and who knows, we might even see Howard the Duck get a full,
I don't care about that one. Dude, you well, with that we must say
you didn't like Howard the Duck.
Not as an X-Men character. Yeah, even though he's a Marvel character, or I mean a Marvel character, even though he's a Marvel character, no. I mean, if he's going to sit there and back up Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think where he belongs is just the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's probably the best franchise out of the MCU he fits in.
But if you're going to throw him in and do his old Howard the Duck movie again, no. You got
to give something to the kids. It can't all be too heavy.
Yeah, we're giving them the Eternals. We're giving them the Young Avengers. We're giving them all that. You know, it's like, geez, don't bring back Howard the Duck. That will keep that in 1985 or whatever year that was that they came out with.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Speaking of which, I have to watch the Eternals.
Yeah, it's not out yet.
Oh no! Okay.
Yeah, it's not out yet. You have time. You have to watch Black Widow. So I did a solo review on my podcast, the Daily Podcast, and I'll tell you right now, man, doing a solo review is the hardest shit a person can ever do. Shout out to those guys who does their own review on the movies, because I'm sitting here doing a review on Black Widow, and I'm waiting for someone to disagree with me on something, but I'm like, yeah, I liked it, and I'm waiting for someone to say no. But I didn't have that. I didn't have the. This could have been better.
Did different voices and answer yourself.
Yeah, I could have, but that whole editing thing would have took longer than the whole podcast. 40-minute podcast, but it took 3 hours to edit. So.
Yeah, I don't know how. You know, shout out to you, man. It's really tough doing things like that by yourself. You know,
well, you know, I didn't have a Joe here with me, and then when I finally text Joe, "Hey Joe, did you watch?" He's like, "No, I don't plan on it." And I'm like, well, did he not want to pay the $30 for it? What's going on here?
No, that was actually the rule, was that I had to wait for everyone in the household to be home in order to watch it. My brother-in-law was away, so now that he's back, we can watch it. And, hey, listen,
when you're
rules of the house.
When you're at work and no one's watching, you can just, you know, create your own Disney Plus account so it doesn't show that you watched it already.
He's just trying to get me in trouble.
Joe, why does it say there's 5 minutes left in Black Widow?
Like, you know, it must be glitching.
I don't know. I think your mom had people over, and I think they were watching it. I kept hearing them say, "Go Black Widow, go Black Widow."
Like somebody hacked my account. I don't know. They've been watching all these weird shows.
It's like, oh yeah, you know what? Ev's account got hacked, so I gave him my account and he paid for Black Widow.
Yeah, blame it on us.
Blame it on the New Yorkers. Blame it on the New Yorkers. But so, bottom line, what do you think of the whole series as a whole? What do you like it moving forward? Can you not wait for season 2?
I loved it. Wasn't too bummed out by the cliffhanger because I'm excited for what's to come. But I think, in my opinion, it's my favorite of the new Marvel series out of, you know, Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki so far is my favorite, mainly because of what it's setting up for the future of Marvel. And just, it was just really cool. The writing, the acting was great. I loved it.
I'm a big Tom Hiddleston fan. I'm a big fan of his, and I'm a big fan of his acting. And again, moving forward, I kind of wish they gave him a little more, you know, Loki roles to show us the different types of Lokis. Never know. They might do that in season 2. They might, you know, with COVID supposedly going down right now and things are a little safe, people are vaccinated, maybe they'll give us that 12 episodes that they gave WandaVision. So We'll see. We'll see. I liked it. Again, like you said, I love the series. I kind of wish they came out. You pointed out earlier that most of the scenes were shot in the TVA, which again, for COVID reason, that's the only reason why they probably did that. I kind of wish they gave us more of the scenery, where Falcon and Winter Soldier, they were, Atlanta, they were here, they were there.
Yeah.
So I kind of wish they did that with Loki also, where they gave us a little more like, we're here, we're there.
A little more time hopping.
Other than that, there was nothing I didn't like about it. You pointed out you weren't a big fan of Owen Wilson. Now I got to watch it again just to see, or maybe I'll just go on YouTube to see, or to hear if they actually caught him saying his catchphrase.
Wow.
You really are deviant, Loki. It's funny because the way you say it, I can actually hear him saying that.
Right.
Wow, you really are mischievous.
I find like I'll probably be a little more upset if they didn't let him do it. At least once.
Yeah.
Come on. You're going to use them.
I'm pretty sure they did. And you know what? Now that we're still here and we're winding this down, let me just see if he says wow on YouTube. I'm pretty sure someone already pointed it out. Oh, wow. But yeah, I liked it. I like this character. Oh my God, someone did say it. Someone did pointed it out.
No way.
No, it just said Owen Wilson learning about Loki, Tom Hiddleston. No, they didn't say it. They didn't say it. Oh, here it is. Hold on. This is Loki's just coming out of his TVA thing. And Owen Wilson's showing him the TVA.
There was no magic here.
It's supposed to say wow.
Wow.
That was fake. Sorry, guys. I watched that whole thing and someone just threw in the word wow in there. I really thought this person got 42,499 views that he posted June 22nd for 36 seconds, and he just threw in the word wow in there. It wasn't even a real wow.
That's funny. That's like you just got rickrolled, sort of.
I did get rickrolled. I'm not even saying your name, person who posted that on YouTube. But yeah, man, this has been fun, man. Joe, welcome back. I'm glad to have Joe back. I'm glad to have the guy who started this whole thing with me, whether he's a variant or not. He's Joe there.
I'm a version of me.
Yeah. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to plug in. You posted something on Instagram the other day. You have this new channel that you're promoting when it comes to music. Tell everybody that channel, man. I was listening to it the other day. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it here a bunch of times that, I've kind of done music, make beats just as a pastime. And I figured finally time for me to just let all the stuff I have sitting in my hard drive out and let everybody hear it. And so it's on Instagram. It's huge.beats. That's beats with a Z because the S was taken. And I just about every week or so, week and a half, I'll post up a beat that I've done. And if anybody's interested in buying or leasing one, just hit me up in my DMs and we'll talk about it. But yeah, check it out.
I'll leave a link somewhere above Joe's head. I can't point over to his camera because it's not working somewhere there. And no, this is not his beat, so don't try to steal that beat from Joe. That's not his beat. Man, this has been fun. Again, if you guys haven't been around and don't listen to the Ordinary Joes on a normal, not having a weekly podcast is kind of tough. Even when I do my own podcast and I don't do it, it's kind of tough not doing a podcast. This kind of the way we're doing it kind of feels at home. So Joe, welcome back. Let's give Joe another round of applause for being back here.
Thank you. And thank you to you also for, like I said, holding it down, holding the fort down while I've been gone. And go check out the Daily Podcast with Eric B. He's got a bunch of MCU characters and a lot of good interviews there. So, and he's got some more stuff to come. So
more interviews coming around. More interviews coming around. I'm trying to finalize a couple of things before a couple of people gets on the show. So yeah, definitely check that out. It's fun. It's kind of nerve wracking when you're like, when you reach out to these people and you say, hey, can you be on my podcast and talk about this? And then all of a sudden, like, they're like, yes, I'll be more than happy. You're like, oh my God, they said yes. What do I talk about? What do I wear? What do I,
what do I wear?
Exactly. That's exactly the hard part about that.
No, but you make it look easy, man. And it's always good product and always good interviews and fun to watch. So,
yes,
keep it up, please.
Joe, someone told me, tell Joe to whatever he has going on to stop doing whatever he's going on, because they really miss the Ordinary Joe's podcast. And they said I couldn't say their name online on air, so during the podcast, but they're very they like our podcast. They listen to our podcast whenever they can. They said, I listened to the last podcast because you told me you guys are going back on. So I listened to the last one you guys did together, just because I want to get ready for this next one. And this person that I work with doesn't even watch any Disney Plus movies, so they won't know what the hell we're talking about, but they just want to hear the conversation that we have. And,
well, thank you very much to whoever that person is.
Yes.
I appreciate it. And I am back, knock on wood, for good.
For good. And again, thank you to Evan Rowe for coming out. Thank you to Sean Garnett for, stepping up when I needed someone to kind of influence the Ordinary Joes with us. But as I told Joe in the beginning of this podcast before we got on air, was I kind of felt like I cheated on him. Kind of felt like, it's like, I haven't heard from Joe in a while. I think he's mad.
Yeah.
I think he's mad that I had a couple people on here.
No, it was all love. I had just going through some stuff, but thanks, Eric, being the stand-up guy he is, texting me every time. Hey, dude, is it okay if I bring this? Like, go for it, man. Hold it down. Yeah.
And then we promised Joe that we are going to get Sean Garnett on here, and we're gonna get Sean Garnett on here moving forward. We're gonna do something where and Sean's an easy guy. You guys heard his podcast with me. He's an easy guy to talk to. He can talk about everything and anything. So cool. We're gonna try to keep that one short as well. Evan Rowe, thank you guys for coming on, but I cannot do a 2-hour podcast with you guys again. I cannot, man. When Joe tells me about the editing process and how he has to do this, I had to do that. And I'm like, oh, man. I mean, our topics was good. Ro, our topics was good, Ro. But we got to keep it to 1 or 2 topics. That's it.
Ro can keep going. I mean, that's what's great about Ro is you can always count on him to keep the conversation flowing because he just has 1,000,001 things in his mind that he wants to get out. So shout out to those guys.
No, I love that about a person that just can keep talking, but it's also a time limit that we got to keep a notch, so
set a clock next time.
Set a clock. But man, it was good to be back. Thank you, Joe, for jumping on. Again, this is our Loki review for our Loki recap for the Loki TV series. We will be back again next week.
Next week. Yep.
Next week. All right. Different topic, different subject. Catch us on Instagram, The Ordinary Joe Podcast on Instagram. And then again, email us at theordinaryjoespodcast@gmail.com and available on YouTube, The Ordinary Joe's Podcast. Until next week.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. Good Lord, Jesus Christ. I haven't even had breakfast yet. What is it, 12:30 and I haven't had breakfast yet.
Oh, man. Is it really?
Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah, go eat.
Go eat. All right, guys. Until next week, thank you guys for watching. We are The Ordinary Joes.
The Ordinary Joes. Peace.
See ya.
You're listening to the Ordinary Joe's Podcast.